I got the pattern laid out for the left hand boot cowl panel. Now on the bottom here, I knew where I wanted to cut it off. I knew how that was going to lay because I've got the center line marked and I've got the right hand pattern there, or the panel already made up down there. So I just wanted it to overlap that right hand panel enough to put screws in there for a good edge distance for the screws and stuff. The top up here, I didn't exactly know how I was going to terminate it. I wanted to do it as a mirror image of the right hand panel. What I did was I laid a straight edge across my engine mount attach bolts, and then I measured down from the straight edge, the lower edge of the straight edge on the right hand side to where the top of the panel went over there, and then I measured down that same distance on the left hand side and marked it, and I measured down to the center of my screw hole on that side for the upper screw hole where the top panel is going to attach to the lower ones. Pretty much the same thing on the back side. It's determined by where the upper screw hole is on those Piper channels as to how high that panel goes. And on this side, the upper screw hole was up a little higher than on the other side, so it's going to be just slightly different on this side than the other side, but it's still going to work out fine. The left hand lower boot cowl panel is fitted up. I've got the holes drilled back there on the Piper channel. It's all screwed on. And I've got the holes located here into the firewall. I've got them drilled out with number 40 drill bit, 3/32. And so I've got to come back through, re-drill these with a 27 drill bit so I can get my nut plate jig in there to drill them out for the nut plates. And then they'll be drilled out for a clearance hole for a number 8 screw. I need to trim this off a little bit here and put a bend in this flange on that. This is where the top cowling is going to, top of the boot cowl will come down over that. And I need to loosen up the bottom to pull the screws out from the right hand panel so that I can drill those two holes there that attach this to where the right hand panel, where they overlap, the right hand and left hand panel overlap. A little bit of file work on here for trimming up the edges and stuff, and this left hand side will be good to go. This is the bottom of the fuselage where the two boot cowl halves meet. I got the screws located here where the two halves meet. This one's in the firewall, this one back here is in the U channel, and there'll be 4 panels meet right there. So anyway, those are located real good. I've got a pattern laid out here to put screws in to attach these two boot cowl halves together. And I went ahead and went on a 3-inch pattern. It leaves a little closer in the front, but that's fine. It'll hold the front tighter together here. So I'm going to drill these holes out now with a number 40 drill bit, and then I'll go on up to a number 27 drill bit. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and put number 6 nut plates on this right hand panel and put number 6 screws in here on this section. They don't need to be number 8s in there. I've got 6 backs here. I've got number 8s up here in the front along the firewall, but I don't think I need number 8s along here. I think 6s will do fine. Actually 4s would probably do fine, but I'm going to go ahead and put 6s in there. I piloted these holes out with a number 40 bit, like I said, and then I cleat-coated everything together, and then I went back through it with a number 27 bit for a number 6 screw clearance. And this lower section's all done. I'll go ahead and take this panel off, this left-hand panel off now. I'll unscrew all that inside on the Piper channel and take all the clecos out of the rest of it here. These holes here will be drilled out for a number 8 clearance with a number 16 bit, and then I'll chase them out with a reamer just to make sure they're good round holes. And then we'll go through and put the nut plate jig in each one of these holes, drill those out for the nut plates, and then drill those holes out with a number 16 drill bit to bring them up to a number 8 clearance hole. And then this panel will need some work with the shears and the file and stuff to get it trimmed up, and I still have to trim up that top edge and bend a flange on it for the upper boot cowl to attach to stiffen that panel up where it's up at the top, and then especially there where we attach the two panels together. So that panel is now ready to come off. The left boot cowl panel is done, mounted up. I got this little flange put on it here for stiffener. Got all the holes here all lined up. I got one nut plate here that the rivet didn't get set in right, so I've got to redo that one in the firewall. But I've got all the screws in here attaching the two panels together, and that really made that nice and stiff. I took this this right hand panel off to put the nut plates on there. I was going to do them right on there like that, but thought it was easier to go ahead and take it off. You have to take the protective coating off of that, peel back a little ways so you can get the nut plates on against the aluminum. So I did that. I took it off and put it on the bench and put the nut plates on the bench. I've been kind of waylaid here lately. I got a job came up that I guess I got to do. Can use the work, but mainly it's to help out a friend. So I've been kind of dealing with that. So it took longer to get this left-hand side done than it should have. I worked on it till about 3 o'clock in the morning after I was busy doing other things to get it finished. And after I got it off and all the nut plates on and the holes all trimmed out, reamed out and everything, I came back over to put it on. I put the right side on again, of course, first, and when I lay the right side on, I roll it over the other way so that the right side is up, and I put this panel on, and then I put these screws in here first, a couple of them along this U-channel, and then kind of bring it up this way and kind of bring it up, and then roll it up, and then do the upper side. I got that one on, and I went and put this one left side on, and I did started to do it the same way. I put this screw in and started working my way down and put these screws in, and when I went up here to the top, I couldn't get it to line up at all. I almost cried. I thought I was going to have to redo the whole thing after carefully laying that all out, and it all matched up before I took it off and put the nut plates on and stuff. But I took all the screws out on this lower section, and I redid it and started here and put screws in the top up here in the side, and then was able to get everything to line up. So it mates up pretty good if you put it on there right. Sure didn't seem like it was gonna there for a while. So the next step here is to get poster board and lay out a pattern or template for this top of the boot cowl. And then there'll be some work on these side pieces here. Once you get the top, it'll overlap these, and we'll have a row of screws going down here to mate these two together. So I'll have to put nut plates in here and match those holes up. But first we'll get it all laid out on top up here. There's going to be a little bit of a challenge here because I've got kind of this squared off instrument panel. Now it's not as square as the Cub Crafters one that was in the other airframe, but it's still a Cub panel is pretty much rounded here, so even though it's a little bit different shape than this firewall is, it's still more rounded like the firewall, so it's easier to match those pieces up. But this is not going to be any more difficult than these lower pieces down here to match up. So we'll get a template made up, a pattern made up, and see what we can do about getting that top piece on.